Welcome back, beautiful people. My name is Mia, and if you're new here, welcome. And if you like what you see, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So guys, what I want you to realize is the ingredients that we have listed as we have them listed today is for 2 cobblers. If you only need 1 cobbler, you can just simply cut the ingredients in half. Now I'll have them listed in the description box below to make it easier. And again, just cut it in half and I'll do perfect for one 13x9 dish. Well, another thing I do want to say today is the reason we're making these cobblers today is to recognize people that mean a lot to us, people that have really went above and beyond, and especially during this time of chaos, has really made a difference in our lives. One is going to be my brother-in-law, Jason. He's one of our boys in blue, and there's a lot of sacrifices that him as well as his family and time with his family that he goes through to make sure that everybody is safe. And there's a lot of good that he has done in this world, and I definitely want to recognize and reach out and tell him how much we do love him and are proud of him. Another one is, I'm sure that everybody has ran across that there's a shortage in a lot of things that we're trying to get during this time, as well as with my family has been very affected by that. We've tried to get several ingredients and it's been very difficult. But what has happened is a lot of people from my husband's work family has actually went out and been able to acquire these items and has given them to our family. So I want to say thank you. So I want to fix them something yum and warm for their tummies, and let them know that they're appreciated and everything that they've done is appreciated. I think this is a really great time for us to recognize those people and share the love and come closer as a community and as a family. Now let's go ahead and get started with our cobbler. So guys, what we're gonna make today is a simple, super easy Southern Blackberry cobbler. This one, you really can't get easier than this. What we're gonna use is going to be 2 pounds of blackberries. Now these were fresh, I picked them, I went ahead and washed them and froze them until today. 3 cups of milk, 3 cups of flour, 3 cups of sugar, 1 stick of butter, and then another ½ cup of sugar set aside for the sautéing, ½ teaspoon of salt, 2 baking dishes. Now these are 13x9. I went ahead and pre-greased them, and just a pan over here for sautéing the blackberries in them. So the first thing we're gonna wanna do is go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees. We wanna do that so it's nice and hot, so when we get our dishes ready, our cobbler ready, we can pop it in the oven. Now we're gonna go ahead and preheat our skillet to a medium-high heat, and I'm gonna put 1 stick of butter. And I went ahead and chopped up the butter so that way it can melt a little bit faster. And once we've done that, we're gonna add in the berries and the ½ cup of sugar and the ½ teaspoon of salt to go ahead and saute. So I've added a ½ cup of sugar, 2 pounds of berries, 1 stick of butter, and a ½ teaspoon of salt. I went ahead and mixed them all together, and it's on a medium-high, more towards the high heat because I've got frozen berries in here. If you have fresh berries, go ahead and reduce it down to a medium-high. This one's closer to high heat. And as they melt, then I'll reduce it and let it simmer for roughly about 10 minutes. But I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up, and then we'll come back once we're ready to go ahead and make the batter. The berries are now simmering, so we're gonna let them simmer. While they simmer, we're gonna go ahead and make up the dough. Now, this is 3 cups of self-rising flour. If you're using all-purpose flour, make sure that you look up the recommendations for how much baking powder and how much salt. But this, for our purpose, this is actually self-rising. So there's 3 cups here, and I have pre-sifted it just to make sure that it's good to go. And then this is 3 cups of sugar. It's a very sweet treat here. Just gonna kind of, looks like there's a few chunks of sugar in there, so I'm gonna kind of mix them up here. Just kind of incorporate them together. And then next we're gonna add 3 cups of milk. Now this is 2% milk. You can use whole milk. It doesn't really matter. I just prefer 2%. Let's go ahead and get, that was 1 cup. There's 2 cups and 3 cups. I mean, that is about as simple as it is for the dough. I mean, it's quite easy. So I'm just gonna slowly get these mixed together. Now, if you have a bigger container, you might find it a little bit easier to mix. I don't want to sling this everywhere. Now, a lot of the Now you can use a blender if you'd like to get the clumps out. I'm just kind of going to get this all incorporated. Now you see here that we've got it all incorporated together, and you'll notice there are a few tiny little lumps left in it. That is not a big deal. That is, you can go ahead and leave those. That's not something you got to worry about. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this and set it aside and go ahead and go back to our berries. So our berries have been cooking for roughly about 10 to 15 minutes. They're now ready to go ahead and be placed into the Pyrex pans that we have over here. And we're going to go ahead and use the dough that we've mixed together earlier. You'll see it right here. We're going to go ahead and incorporate those together. So let's go ahead and get that started. So now we're going to use about half in each of these pans. Well, be careful, it splatters everywhere. I want to make sure that it's covered in the bottom of the pan. We're going to put that in here. Now I will tell you guys, the berry juice will stain, especially blackberry juice, so be cautious. If you get it somewhere, get it off pretty quickly. Okay, let's set that over here. Now I'm just going to kind of spread the berries out through the whole cobbler. It doesn't look like much, but believe it or not, it actually makes more than it looks. Okay, just want to make sure all the berries aren't concentrated in one area. Now what we're going to do, set that aside, is I'm going to step over here and I'm going to grab the dough that we made up earlier. All right, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir, and then we're going to use about half in each container, and I'm just going to kind of pour it along like that, and I'm going to pour this one just like the same, and I'm trying to get them equal, so I'm just going to kind of go back, do the same over here. This cobbler is really simple. Now, if you want to step it up, you can even add vanilla. I would probably just use like 1 teaspoonful of vanilla. You could maybe even use up to 2 teaspoons for 2 cobblers. But remember, vanilla is very strong, so less is more when it comes to that. Now that we've got them all together, and you'll notice that there's some different coloration, we're gonna go ahead and pop these in the oven for probably about 45 minutes. I'll come back and let you know the actual time. Different ovens cook differently, so yours might take a little less, a little bit longer, but the main thing you're gonna wanna do is when you you'll feel the firmness on top. You don't want it gooey. There's a difference between gooey and doughy. Like we don't want it gooey to where you push the dough, it sinks in. You want it to be very firm to the touch. Once it's very firm, you can even add a little butter to the top. That's very good. But we're gonna go ahead and pop them in the oven, and we'll come back. I'll show you the finished product and tell you how long it took to cook. So it took roughly about 45 minutes in a 350-degree oven, and this is the end result. It looks awful yummy. If you'll look at it, it's gonna have a more firm consistency. When you touch it, it actually will not dip in. It won't jiggle any. I went ahead and plated some up and topped it with some ice cream. So yummy. And this is the end result. Well guys, I have enjoyed cooking with you today. I hope that you have found this video very helpful and hopefully yummy to your tummy. If you do like what you see, go ahead and hit that like button to give me a little love. Until next time, y'all have a wonderful and blessed afternoon.
Missing someone